He'll watch a movie, then he'll tell you all about it. It's the Armstrong Entertainment Show.
Hello everyone and welcome to Armstrong Entertainment. This is Chad here and I saw the movie Climax, directed by Gaspar Noe and starring Sofia Boutella and a bunch of other dancers. Now if you know nothing about this film, I am not surprised because it is currently only playing in New York and Los Angeles. Now this is an art house film and I don't know if you've seen any of these other films by this director like Enter the Void or Irreversible, but his movies are insane. Needless to say, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I vaguely remembered the 2009 film Enter the Void, and I remember not being able to finish it because it was almost 3 hours long, and it is so crazy and intense, and my brain could just not handle it. It's not my type of movie. His films are so stylized and odd and quirky and weird and bizarre and intense, and this movie-going experience was crazy. Now let me back up a little bit and tell you what the plot of this film is. It is apparently a true story, even though I'm sure they took some liberations, about a dance troupe in 1996 who basically is laced with LSD unexpectedly, and it's what happens and unfolds within that night after the rehearsal. Now let me just back up a little bit and tell you that I am not a drug user. I have never used drugs in my entire life, and this is why, because this was freaking insane. Now, believe me when I say I was literally screaming at the screen because I was so disturbed and disgusted and I couldn't take my eyes away from this because it's crazy and everybody had this reaction and all of us were in the theater were just like reacting to what was going on, and I don't want to go into it, but it was like, stop, I can't watch this, but also I could watch it. It reminds me of how I felt after watching Dogtooth, which is also just Yorgos Lanthimos is one of his first films. So bizarre and weird, and it's just so out there, and it just gives you this physical reaction, and I couldn't contain myself. Now, as a film, I will probably never watch this again because it was such an intense movie that it just made me so uncomfortable, and if I honestly was watching this at home on TV or something, I probably would have turned it off, but I was stuck in this movie theater with all these other people, and there was a point that I wanted to walk out, but I'm so glad I stuck through it because it's an experience. It's not one I want to revisit anytime soon, but this is definitely not a film for nearly anyone. I bet you 90% of the people who are movie-going audiences are not going to like this film, but there is that crazy 10% of people who love shit like this, and this is what this guy's known for. I don't really know him very well, this director, but it was so intense. I tell me, if you see this movie, let me know if you had the same reaction that I did. I honestly will say this is in the top 5 craziest movies I have ever seen. Along with being one of the craziest movies I've ever seen, it's also one of the coolest in the fact that it has these long takes that I love. There was a 12-minute take, I believe, at the very beginning of the film, and it just keeps going and going and going. You're like, holy crap, this is incredible. But then he ruins it by turning the camera upside down, and I kind of understand what he's trying to say and do, but it was a little too much for me, but also really cool in some parts. It worked really well. Some parts it did not work well at all. But overall, it's called Climax. I honestly don't know what to tell you if you're going to like this or not. If you see the preview and it looks interesting to you, it kind of reminded me of a Suspiria type of deal, but after the movie ended, almost everybody in the audience was just glued to their seats still, and everybody just started talking amongst their groups about what they just saw, and I have not seen that in a very long time. Climax, playing in New York and LA, probably opening in other theaters near you relatively soon. Until next time.
He'll watch a movie, then he'll tell you all about it. It's the Armstrong Entertainment Show.